Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 21st of August 2019. So welcome everyone, welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But as always, before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute an investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. There's always a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, just a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our videos, and of course our JFD bank website, but specifically our JFD research page, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis, and I believe you can find something useful here. So, right, for now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on very quickly here is Ethereum. I looked at this one last week, and basically what I was saying that we had this downside resistance line, and the crypto kind of continued to trade below it. We saw this one pushing towards it, testing this downside line, and kind of retracing back down again. So in a way, looking at this picture, what I was saying previously was that if we see a drop below the 190 zone, then in a way this could lead towards further declines. We could see this one moving all the way towards the low of the current lowest point of August, near the 173 73 and a half, something like that here. So this could be a nice good target here for Ethereum, and but like I said, for now, of course at this point in time, we are still more bearish than bullish on this one, or should I say even maybe a little bit cautiously bearish, because still, like I said, for us to get more bearish on this one, we would need to see a drop below this 173 and a half zone. So up until here, we are going to be somewhat cautiously bearish. So in a way, like I said, we will keep an eye on these lower areas. For now, we are going to be aiming for slightly lower levels, but in case this suddenly reverses back to the upside, breaks this downside line, and pushes above the recent highs here near the 203 zone, 204 approximately around there, then yep, we will consider a possible move towards the 216 area, which also is not far from the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. But as you can see by the drawings here on my chart, this is the level that we need in order to kind of get comfortable with higher levels. A break above this, a break above the 200 EMA and a push above the 216 zone could open the path towards slightly higher levels here, initially aiming for the 240 area. But if that fails, then yep, 262 zone could be a nice target as well. But again, like I said, this is a bit of a big journey here for Ethereum to make. So first, let's keep an eye on this downside line. If it gets a break, then we'll aim for the 203, 204 zone. But if that fails, then this is where we will aim for the 200 EMA first, and then we'll take it from there. If it gets a nice break above this, then yep, we will aim for higher. But again, for now, like I said, guys, until as long as this line remains kind of intact, we will continue pushing further to the downside. So for now, like I said, we will keep an eye on that scenario. Also, given the fact that it's already trading below the 190 zone, so all this kind of creates this slightly bearish atmosphere, which could drag the crypto towards the 173 and a half zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Jumping into one commodity which I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's WTI oil. I looked at this one earlier, and basically what I was saying, that we need to keep an eye on this downside resistance line here, taken from the high of the 11th of July. You can see that the commodity managed to travel higher towards it, managed to almost kind of test this line again. So what we're going to do here is we're going to still remain very cautious and very careful, because what we could see here is, of course, yes, I mean, the fact that it came closer to this downside line, it increases the chances of breaking it, but if it continues to hold and if we see this one reversing back to the downside, we'll keep an eye on this 55.13 zone, approximately around there, which is the low of yesterday. And if we see a drop below this, then we'll slightly aim for slightly lower levels, around the 53.72. So in a way, for now, guys, be very careful, because until we see that break, we can't really talk about the upside here. And to be honest, for those who are more on the cautious side, in a way, not only that you would need this break of this downside line, but also a push above the 57.43 zone, which is the high of the 13th of August. And this way we could then aim for higher levels. But again, like I said, until it's trading below this line, we're not really kind of touching the upside here. Also, what I wanted to kind of quickly mention here is that if you consider, or should I even start the sentence differently, because on the 7th of August we had a nice rebound here from this level right here near the 50.70. From there it traveled higher, it pushed back towards this downside resistance line. So in a way, if you want, we could be maybe forming something of a not an ideal here, but still somewhat of a descending triangle formation. But again, this, I mean, too early to talk about that. First, we would need to see a nice, good, strong reversal from this downside line, and only then we'll and if we see all these drops below these key areas of support, then we will consider a possible test of this 50.70 zone again. So that's why, guys, for now, like I said, from the very short-term perspective, keep your eyes on this downside line. If it holds, then we could see a nice reversal, and we'll get comfortable with slightly lower areas if we see a drop below the 55.13-15 zone, approximately around there. And then, like I said, we'll aim for these lower areas. But if this gets broken, if this downside line gets broken, then this could in a way start opening the path towards slightly higher levels. So that's why, guys, keep your eyes on this one. And as I said, on the kind of bigger picture here, if this line holds and we see a strong slide back down here, this is where we will consider this to be a nice, maybe not a very nice, but because we do have a bit of a space here, and but still somewhat of a descending triangle formation. But again, that's too early to talk about that. Just wanted to keep it in your heads for the future. Okay, let's jump into a few pairs now very quickly. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I kept talking about AUDUSD in my previous videos, and still the kind of the scenarios remain the same, because you can see that the pair is stuck right now in a range, so roughly between the 0.6743 and the 0.6818 zones. So in a way, for now, we can just keep an eye on it. We're just not going to do anything. You're just going to keep an eye on these two levels. If we get a breakthrough one of them, then we'll aim for slightly, well, I should say, if we'll aim for a further directional move. We're not going to go drastically to the upside, but, or let's say to the downside, but these levels could play out nicely. So on the upside, we could then aim for the 0.6866, and then on the downside, we could initially aim for the 0.6706, or even better, this little low here that we saw on the 7th of August near the 0.6673. So keep your eyes on that one. Very quickly on USDCAD. Now, I talked about this one yesterday and before that, and basically I keep talking about this, and you can see why. Because this 1.3345 low continues to act as a very strong area of resistance. So in a way, what we could assume here is that if, let's say, this decides to reverse again and it finally gets a push through the 1.3345, there is a possibility we could see actually a very strong push here straight away, acceleration maybe towards the 1.3387 initially. or even going further towards the 1.33, 34, 32 area, approximately there, which is the high of the 18th of June. So in a way, guys, that's why keep your eyes on this level, on this 1.3345, because in a way, because like as you can see, it kind of continues to act as a very strong area of resistance. So in a way, if it decides to suddenly push through this, then it could be a very strong move here. But again, like I said, for now we're going to be somewhat more we're going to be cautiously bullish on this one, probably because we're still trading above this upside support line, and we need to see a clear break below this, and ideally a rate drop below the 1.324850 zone here, and only then we will consider a further decline here. But again, for now, it's as long as it continues to trade above this upside line, we will stay somewhat or should say cautiously bullish here. But to get more excited with the upside, we need to see that good break above the 1.3345. GBPUSD, very quickly on this one, yesterday had a nice push higher. So initially we were breaking this upside line, and this is what I was talking about yesterday, basically in my traders tea time. And basically we during the tea time, the rate was trading already slightly below this this upside line. But what I was saying, that we need to see a further move below the 1.2080 in order to consider, let's say, lower areas. But if this suddenly travels back above this this upside line, then there could be a possibility to see a push towards this 1.2176-75 zone, and we had a perfect test of that. It held the rate down, and now you can see that we're seeing this, now you can see that we're having this nice retracement back to the downside again. It's for now it's working out nicely, as mentioned yesterday in my video. Again, in terms of the upside here, guys, be very careful, because yes, on one hand, I mean, the pound is kind of let's say correcting now to the upside here, and the reason why I'm saying correcting, because we're still trading below this downside resistance line taken from the highest point of May here. So in a way, it could travel further up here, it could test this downside line, but let's not forget that the Brexit problems have not gone and not disappeared anywhere. So in a way, we could see this one climbing to the upside here, recovering a little bit more, and then selling off again. So especially if this downside line holds. So from the shorter term perspective, keep your eyes on this level here, on this 1.2175. If we get a nice good push above this, then yep, we will aim for the 1.2210 or the 1.2250, which is the high of the 31st of July. So for now, that's kind of the game plan with the upside. In terms of the downside, still the same scenario remains. We need to see a drop back below the 1.2080 before, let's say, examining further declines. EURUSD, and now I talked about this one yesterday, and just wanted to kind of quickly update, give a quick update on this one. And basically, you can see that I was talking about basically yesterday about the falling wedge formation, and I slightly had the line drawn too low, and basically just kind of wanted to correct myself, guys, here, and kind of give you this this idea right here. Basically, we need to capture this little high here, and this way is going to be a little bit more accurate figure. So we're still within this nice falling wedge formation again, but inside that wedge formation, the pair started moving sideways a little bit. So still, in a way, the same levels remain as yesterday when I talked about this one. So the same levels for us remain in order to kind of, let's say, consider a further directional move. So if we see a drop below the 1.6315 zone, this of course could lead towards the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, but if that fails as well, then fails to hold, then yep, we could see a test of the 1.6250 zone, which previously acted as a good area of resistance and support. So in a way, guys, for now, like I said, be very careful here. Keep your eyes on these potential breakout points, and on the upside here is that 1.6416. I talked about this one yesterday, even though this upper side, I've shifted this upper side of the edge a little bit, but still the main breakout level for us remains this one, the 1.64 16 15 zone, approximately around there, and only after that we will consider a further move higher here. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Quick mentioning of the euro dollar, not much happening here, but of course yesterday it got a nice boost here to the upside, but initially we had this little tentative downside resistance line which we can actually get rid of. But what we're going to focus more here on is going to be a little range. Now, as you can probably already see that, so this kind of range, the lower side of this little range starts from the low of the 2nd of August here, so roughly around the 1.1068. But to be honest, actually, as I can see now, it slid a little bit lower, so in a way we can actually adjust this level here as well, and this is probably going to be a more accurate one. So the 1.1065, now this could be our this lower side of the range that we're going to be keeping a close eye on, this short-term range, of course. And on the upside here, we can see that this 1.1106 area, approximately there, around there, yesterday held the rate down nicely. Today, this morning, it did the same thing. So basically, this becomes a quite important area to watch here. So let me just quickly highlight that for future reference as well. So this is the one that we're going to be keeping a close eye on the upside. So in a way, if we get a nice pop above that level, then we will consider a possible move towards the 1.1129, or even better towards this 1.1163 zone, approximately around there. And probably by the time it could travel here, the 200 EMA could approach that level as well. So that's in terms of the upside here, guys. In terms of the downside, be very careful and wait for a clear drop below the 1.1065 before examining further declines. And by further declines, I mean the 1.1024 level, which previously acted here as on the 1st of August, acted as a fantastic area of support. So we'll initially target that, but of course, as you all are aware, slightly below that, we do have that nice psychological 110 zone, which we are still waiting for to get tested. So, but again, like I said before, kind of considering the downside, we need to see that drop below the 1.1065. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on here is the EURGBP. After hitting its hitting this low near the 0.9088 zone, it reversed back to the upside, and to be honest, it's also somewhat moving sideways right now. So it's not an ideal range here, but we'll keep an eye. Let me just adjust this level here. This is basically a bit of a tricky one, to be honest. This is no longer valid. This is probably, we can get rid of that line as well, and mainly focus on some of these highlighted areas, because these are going to be probably somewhat more important ones. And looking at this picture here, you can see that if we get a nice push back above the 0.9196 zone, then in a way there could be a chance for this one to drift back towards the 93 zone or even above that. But and you can see that the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart continues to hold this pair. Now this is going to be very tricky because of course, if it drops below this, then yep, we will consider a possible move lower. The only thing is that there's a bunch of obstacles that the pair would need to overcome in order for us, let's say, to get slightly more comfortable with the downside, because we would need to see a drop below the 0.9088 zone, this one here, before we could examine further declines. But again, further declines could be limited due to this tentative upside support line that has been running here from the lowest point of May. So that's why, guys, be very careful here. But if this line breaks, now this is where that we could see further declines moving back down here towards the 0.89 zone or even below that. But again, like I said, until it's kind of trading here, we could remain somewhat like bullish here. But the only thing is that probably we'll take a very neutral approach here right now and wait for a clear breakthrough one of our highlighted areas here, guys. So that's why, guys, keep your eyes on this one. Don't rush into this. Wait for that confirmation break and then probably act on it. But again, like I said, you have your own head on your shoulders. So I hope you guys make your right decisions here. Always have your stop loss in place. Don't try to risk it too much, and keep your money management in place as always. Those are already the rules that you need to always follow. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful. Just a quick mentioning that there won't be any Espresso videos, neither Espresso nor tea time from tomorrow. Today we'll have the tea time later on, but then we will resume the Traders Espresso and tea time on the 30th of August. So that's why guys, like I said, I'll see you then. But again, for those who like to switch in only to the Espresso videos, but I will see you still today later on at my Traders tea time, and then like I said, after that we will resume only in the on the 30th of August. But I hope you have a wonderful trading day guys, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.